How's it going, everyone? In today's video I'm going to be giving you, and I've been struggling to find the right word to describe it, but I'm going to give you my top 3 practical tips of things that you can do in your everyday life that's going to help you get the most out of your training. So this is all stuff that you should be doing outside of the gym that takes minimal skill, effort or intelligence, and it's going to help you massive in the gym before you even think about picking up a weight. But before I get into my list, if you do find this video useful, or even if you don't find the video useful, I don't really care. Please subscribe to my channel anyway. It's free, it costs you nothing, and you're going to be helping out a very handsome and charming man. So the first thing on the list is probably the most important thing, and what you will see is the other 2 things do actually relate back to this. And the first most important thing you need to be is be organised. So the foundation of being a productive person in general is being organised, and this does apply to training in a few different ways. First and foremost, you need to make sure that you get to the gym and complete all your sessions over the course of a week and make sure that you're not missing any. And then over and above that, you want to try and get to the gym on the best possible days to suit your program. So for example, if you're on a 3-day split, you don't want to have to cram your sessions into like 3 days in a row so that you're doing 3 days training, 4 days off. You're going to get a lot better quality training if you have breaks in between each of those sessions to recover between. And then when you're going to the gym, you always want to make sure that you're giving yourself enough time to go and get a quality session in, because if you're having to rush to the gym late or you're rushing to get the gym finished because you've got somewhere else to go, it's just going to result in poorer quality and half complete sessions. And especially if you're somebody who does a lot of training and a lot of different types of training, like you're an athlete who trains for a sport and you've got to manage your actual sport training and your weight training. You always want to make sure that you're doing your training at the best possible times so that you're managing both types of training, being able to train hard and being able to recover properly. So what I suggest you do to organise yourself, and it's what I do and it's what I get all my clients to do who struggle with this type of thing, is first of all create a weekly plan, and on that weekly plan you're going to have all your just general events that you do every week. So that might be stuff like your work, your training, any regular social events, and give sort of rough time frames to them but not absolute concrete, unless there is obviously certain things like maybe your work that you do the exact same time every week with no change. And then that way you've got a clear picture throughout the course of a week of what you're doing and roughly when you do it. And then once you've got that, either before you go to bed at night or first thing when you wake up in the morning, create a day plan, which is where you take all your tasks for that day and anything that's maybe not on your weekly plan that pops up, and give like concrete time frames to them, so you know exactly what you do, when you need to do it, and you've got a clear picture and you're going to adhere to it so much more because you've got it down in front of you. And please trust me, if you do both those things, not even just your training is going to become a lot easier to manage, your whole life's going to become so much easier to manage. Tip number 2, and it is every bit as important as tip number 1, and that's to create habits, and hopefully good habits. It doesn't matter who you are, we literally all live and die by our habits. Maybe not literally die, but we literally do live by our habits. So I look at it as we have 2 types of habits. You've got your routine habits, which is what you actually do, and then we've got our action habits, which is how we do things. And it's so important that we create good habits in both. So for what we actually do, we want to make a habit of doing the right things. So that might be stuff like going to the gym, going to walk, preparing your food. And then the way that they actually become habit is you do them consistently and often enough that it just becomes automatic and you don't even have to think about it, and it just becomes part of your normal life. So it's not I'm Valentino and I'm going to the gym, it's I'm Valentino and I go to the gym. And then tying this back into being organised, we want to try and as much as possible take these good habits and make them permanent fixtures in a routine as much as possible, and that's going to make things so much easier. So for example, it might be that you go to the gym every Monday, Wednesday and Friday between 6 and 8 o'clock. And then that's the easiest way to make these things become habit. I've been trying to record this next bit for a few minutes because I keep saying action rabbits, but in terms of our action habits, a quote that's always stuck with me is the way that you do one thing is the way that you do everything. What this basically translates to is if you're sloppy and half-arse the stuff that you do outside of the gym, you're going to be sloppy and half-arse what you do in the gym. Generally, just try and put a little bit more thought and effort into how you do everything, and even all like your silly little menial tasks. So maybe stuff that you do at work, how you clean your house, how you organise your clothes, and I know it does sound stupid, like how is that going to affect my squats and my deadlifts? But trust me, it takes a really rare individual to be able to switch off and switch on. If you've watched The Last Dance, Michael Jordan's high school basketball coach says Michael Jordan was the only player he ever met that could turn it off and on. and he never turned it off. And he's probably a prime example of the way he was on a basketball court was the exact same way he was in everything else that he'd done in his life. So believe me, if you apply yourself more outside of the gym, you will notice a difference of how you can apply yourself mentally inside of the gym. The final tip I'm going to give you is being prepared with your nutrition. The single biggest piece of advice I could give anyone, and it doesn't matter what you're trying to achieve when it comes to your nutrition, is just be prepared. If you always have the proper food on hand, it's actually impossible for you to not add to your diet, and it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing. Whether you be in your house, you've always got the proper food there ready to be prepared and eaten so that you're not having to trek back out to the shops to go and get whatever you need. The odds of you actually doing that are going to be very slim, so you'll either just have to make do with what's in the house, which may be the right food, may not be the right food, or if it's not the right food, you're just going to starve yourself. Or when you're on the go, so say you're leaving the house first thing in the morning, you're going to work, you're going to the gym, wherever else. If you're going to be out the house for 9, 10, 11 hours of the day, you need to have some food ready to take with you. If you're out and you're just planning on going into a cafe or going to a shop and just hoping that they've got the exact food that you need off the shelf ready for you to grab, you're going to be pissing in the wind a little bit, because the odds of that happening are pretty slim. So you can do the traditional, take an hour or two a week to do some meal prep, batch prepare a bunch of food, get it in tubs just ready to be eaten whenever you need it. Or a little trick that I like to do when you're making your dinner at night, all you do is make a double portion, so you've got stuff for your dinner to eat there and then stuff that you can put in a tub and you've got it for your lunch the day after. And then relating all that back to having a plan, you take your meal prep and your food shopping and whatever else relating to your food, and you put that as a fixture in your weekly plan, so you always know exactly when you're going to do it, and in that way it just becomes habit. Everything is linked. And that is my top 3 practical tip list. Hopefully I've used the right word for that, I don't know. If there's anything you feel like I've missed here, feel free to chuck it in the comments, because that's always good for the algorithm. All my social media links are in the description, as is my coaching inquiry form, so if you do struggle with this type of thing, it's definitely something that I can help you out with. So please feel free to fill that out and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Give me one of those free likes and subscribes, and I'm already running out of ideas for YouTube videos, so if there is any topics you would like me to discuss, again, please let me know. And other than that, I will see you in the next video.